Fighting for freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. The Patrick Riggins Show. Call in now at 865-243-8255. That's 243-TALK. And now your host, Patrick Riggins.
A little strawberry letter. What number?
23.
There you go.
23.
Tori was too busy dancing.
I was dancing.
If you're watching the webcam, you get a good view of that. Well, you have to come over here. There, now you can see.
Hey, I've done had Lisa to call up earlier today wanting a kiss from me, so.
Really?
Yeah, my ego is huge now.
Hey, I had that email back when we were doing the charity spotlight. Remember that?
Never heard anything about that.
No, I did not.
Oh, see.
And, hey, not that Tori's not a handsome guy, but come on, I'm the host. I should have got mentioned. But nothing. It was all about Tori and his situation as far as personally.
Well, it always is, you know.
It is.
It's my world. You're just lucky I let you live in it.
Yes, I'm just a little electron circling the nucleus of Tori.
Hey, you're just lucky I let you on my radio station during the day.
Yeah, I am appreciative of that.
I'm so full of it.
We're going to have women down here beating down the doors to see you.
Bring money.
Yeah. We'll let your wife be the first one in the door. She'll be bringing the broom handle.
Talk about money.
Or the axe handle. All right. We're here on the last segment. It's usually a short segment, but I want to get this in because this is something I think we really need to think about. Now, I joke around a lot on this show, and sometimes I throw stuff out there, but this one I'm, 90% serious about. But we need to start holding these politicians, or do we need to start holding these politicians personally responsible for the laws they vote to pass? Now, if they're voting for an unconstitutional law and someone ends up suing the government over that law, either it has cost them their freedom in some way or cost them money or their business, if they can show they've been hurt, especially if the representative has been negligent, for example, they didn't read the law before they voted on it, which we had a story about that just this last week here in the Washington Times. It said a new bill working through Washington State's legislature would allow local sheriffs to enter homes of gun owners to ensure their weapons are properly stored. The bill, pushed by Democrats, allows police to search where and how assault weapons are stored, as well as how safely they are stored. Now, Senator Adam Klein of Seattle, he's a Democrat, sponsored the legislation without reading the 8-page bill. 8 pages, and he can't read it. His excuse was, I made a mistake. I frankly should have vetted this more closely, because there's been an uproar, of course, over this. The primary sponsor of the bill, Senator Ed Murray, also a Democrat from Seattle, condemned the bill's subsection authorizing police to search homes without a warrant. He said the plan to harass and intimidate legal gun owners is probably unconstitutional. Gee, probably unconstitutional? Senator Murray doesn't know if it is or isn't? So, if these people are sponsoring and voting on laws without reading them, isn't that negligence? If I can prove that in court, shouldn't the person doing that be held responsible? If the representative is found negligent or the government is found to be at fault, then everybody up the line, the regulators who should have known better, the congressional representatives voting for it, all these people would be held responsible. We do it in the private sector. If I get a judgment against these people and they don't have the money to cover it, let's start garnishing their wages and liquidating their assets. Too many of these politicians and bureaucrats knowingly, they vote for unconstitutional laws, and then the bureaucrats, in their case, they do these regulations, and they dare you to fight them in court over it. You see, they can do that because it doesn't cost them anything. They have governmental law departments to fight for them. And besides, they're generally shielded from lawsuits when they're acting in their government capacities anyway. If they get a win in court, well, they win. If they lose in court, they still win because since it didn't cost them anything. they'll just come back and make some other stupid rule or regulation or pass some asinine law, knowing they won't be held responsible for doing it. What's the very worst that could happen? They don't get reelected? Oh no, they'll just get another job in government. If you look to see where all these politicians end up when they don't get reelected, it's usually in a government agency or working for some campaign donor's company. You see, if there's a danger that these people can be held civilly liable for their actions, they would think twice about doing them. If they vote for something that costs someone money and they can prove it in court, then make that representative pay out of their own pocket. I can be held civilly liable if I do something that costs someone money or costs someone time. Why can't our government employees? Even if you do sue, you have to pay their lawyers because they're paid by your taxes. We do this with CEOs. We expect them to know exactly what is going on in their company. If that company is doing something wrong, we can prosecute the CEO. Why not use that same standard in our government? If I sit on a board of a company or work in a company that is doing something illegal, I can be held liable for the actions of that company if I knowingly approve them. Heck, the government can even come after you using the RICO statutes and get triple the damages. Another good example is this whole sequester hysteria going on right now, and both sides are blaming each other when they're responsible. They're both responsible for ruining our economy. Democrat, Republican, they both spend our money, our tax money, mind you, like it will go on forever. Like there's no end to spending money. Even while they argue over these cuts, right now, they're pointing at each other and saying they did it, or it's their reason or their problem and their fault. Even while they're doing all this, they're spending record amounts of money. I keep hearing people saying, we need to act like adults. Do mature adults constantly spend more money than they take in? That's what we're doing right now, right this very moment. Are you saying no one in Washington, D.C. is a mature adult? I would certainly be comfortable making that argument. As I just pointed out, our congressional representatives are acting with negligence. They are purposely and knowingly hurting our economy and thus our citizens. Should they not be held responsible civilly for doing so? I think if they were in danger of losing everything they had because of their irresponsible actions, they would be more careful when it comes to voting on legislation. We do that. We get something like that passed, and it'll never happen. But we get something like that passed and also implement a loser pays in these civil actions. That way they wouldn't just be getting sued by everybody for frivolous things. If you sued them frivolously, then you'd have to pay their legal bills if you're found that you're just throwing this out there trying to make trouble for a candidate. But if we did that, we'd be a long way down the road to getting our country back on track. All right. We're up on the end of the Patrick Reagan Show already here on the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network. Tori, are you about ready to hit the house?
Oh, yeah.
You get here, your day starts about 11, doesn't it?
Yeah, about 10:30.
About 10:30, yes. So we will let Tori go.
Well, I appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
That's a nice thing.
You can go home to your harem that insists on emailing you and not saying a word about the host.
Harim.
Yes. Thank you for listening to the Patrick Reagan Show again here on the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network. If you want more information about us, go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Patrick Reagan Show. You can also go to YouTube at youtube.com/again, Patrick Reagan Show altogether. And if you want to write us, email us about the handsome host, but we know you're just going to mention Tori. It's patrickreaganshow@gmail.com. And if you want to send pictures of yourself to Tori, you can do it via the WNOX here on Kingston Pike in Knoxville, Tennessee. Just join me next Sunday afternoon when once again we'll talk more about freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. This is Patrick Riggins, and we'll see you next Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Have a great week.
Join us again next week for a solid dose of truth on The Patrick Riggins Show every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. Be there.